Record to the cloud. Okay. So just so you all know that you are being recorded, if you ask a question by turning on your microphone, your name will pop up on the recording. So if you're not comfortable with that, you can always put it in the chat. So as I was saying, my name is Hannah and I am a global learning advisor here at the University of Calgary in study abroad. And I am also a two-time U Calgary alumni and didn't want to leave. So I decided to keep working at the UC, and I love open house because it gives me a great opportunity to share my great experiences with all of you. And then we're also joined with my colleague.
Hi, my name is Avina Zinga. I'm also one of the global learning advisors with Hannah. My pronouns are she, her. I am so happy to be presenting with her today.
Yay. And Vivian is a study abroad expert. She designed her own program to Spain. So
my undergraduate institution didn't have options I liked, so I sort of just made them up myself.
All right, so going forward, before we get started today, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge the traditional territories of the people of the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot Confederacy, comprising the Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai First Nation, as well as the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Stoney Nakoda, including the Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nations. The city of Calgary is also home to Métis Nation of Alberta, Region 3. And you may think, well, it seems a little bit weird for a study abroad office to be doing a territorial acknowledgement of the land that students won't be staying on. But we do really value doing the territorial acknowledgement in our department because no matter where you go, no matter what you do, we want you to be mindful and respectful of the ways of knowing and learning and the earth and the original peoples of that place. And so we always start our presentations with a reminder that that starts at home here in Alberta. So today we are kind of have a three-part agenda. We are going to get started on what is global learning and why you should do it. And we're going to have some of our past students presenting with us. They've kindly volunteered to spend a portion of their Saturday with us. We're going to have fact versus fiction, dispelling some of the myths around global learning. And then we're going to talk about some of the opportunities available to you as a U Calgary student.
So our commitment to you and the commitment that the university has made to all of the students that are U Calgary students is that by 2025, we want 50% of our students to graduate with at least one global learning experience that takes place either abroad or here at home on campus. So our virtual global learning offerings are something that's new. But if you're considering adding global learning, like any sort of dimension of that sort to your degree, you'll join a network of students across campus who have taken part in one or more of our many offerings that our office is involved with. Global learning at U Calgary is a priority for the university in general, as well as the government. So it definitely is something that is important. It's here to stay, and it's something that we highly encourage you to get involved with. It will give you the necessary skills to just live and work successfully in the present world. Now, just to take you on the journey of what is global learning. So our goal is to help U Calgary students build cross-cultural skills and competencies both in and out of the classroom. We want to ensure that students have all of the attitudes and knowledge and skills that they need in order to thrive in their courses, community, and in their future careers. We support students in our office in this way through a variety of global learning programs, and this ranges from travel study programs like student exchanges to professional development opportunities like international internships. And we also have some amazing virtual options to help connect you with fellow students, faculty, and researchers around the world.
So,
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Is this slide 6?
Yeah.
Okay, my apologies. All right. So we often have students ask us, well, who can study abroad? What can I do? What sort of opportunities do we have? We offer more than 1,100 placements every year. So that's how many students we have participating in a normal year in our office. Over half of those students receive some sort of funding for their program. So if you're worried about the cost financially, then we have lots of opportunities for you to receive partial or full funding for your programs. We have 200 individual programs, so we'll talk about what those are later, but they can be exchange, research, or internships that we offer every year. About 30 group experiences, so those are usually shorter term programs. And all 14 faculties offer either a credit or non-credit option for you to participate in global learning. We work on 6 continents, almost all continents except for Antarctica, but we're constantly trying to convince somebody to do something there. And we all just feel that it really comes down to at least one great experience for each student who participates in our programs. So looking at the benefits of a global education, there are a variety of different benefits that are available to you. The first is really that you can set yourself apart. So students who participate in these global learning opportunities typically get into their first or second choice of graduate study programs. And they also have an easier time finding jobs upon the completion of their program. This is one, due to some of the skills that you'll gain, such as intercultural capacity building, resilience, problem solving, but it's also due to the fact that you can show yourself to be adaptable in a variety of academic or work settings. The second is to become a global citizen. So these kinds of programs really help you to become a better citizen academically, as an employee, and within your community. It really helps you to build connections between what's going on in the world and what is going on at school, work, or with your neighbors or your city, or even in your country. You have a great opportunity to immerse yourself in the options that you're taking while you are participating in a global learning program. So whether it is a language learning opportunity or working in a different kinesiology or engineering lab that you wouldn't have access to here at UCalgary, Calgary, or even just going back and looking at your cultural heritage and immersing yourself, you're really able to focus on what it is that you want to do when you're on a global learning experience and you don't have all of that sort of local life going on around you. Another great thing about our programs is that you earn UCalgary credit. So for any of the exchange or group programs, you are earning credit towards your degree, and oftentimes from your internships and research placements as well. And so it doesn't really put you behind in your program. In fact, we have lots of programs where students may earn up to 4 courses worth of credit over a summer, and you're actually putting yourself almost a full semester ahead. And last but not least, this comes from our students who have gone on these programs, but participating in a global learning program really helps you to gain a new perspective on the world, helps you to get outside of your comfort zone and really learn about yourself as well as the world around you. So we're going to hear from our first volunteer. Her name is Sydney. And Sydney, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hi, so I'm Sydney. I went on an exchange trip to the University of East Anglia in the UK in 2019 to 2020. Unfortunately, I did have to come home early because of COVID, but that's a different story. So in UEA, what they actually refer to you as is an exchange student in visiting studies and sciences. So my program is specific to the sciences. So some of the things that I did when I was there was I actually participated in a research project that I can't actually talk about because I signed a non-disclosure agreement. So some of the things that have kind of evolved from that is I've actually received more opportunities for graduate studies because of doing that research project abroad. So for example, the prof that I actually worked with in the at UEA has actually asked me if I'd be wanting to come back to do my master's there. So that's something that I'm working on. It's a little bit more expensive if you're not studying abroad to go to the UK. that's something I'm working for. Some of the profs at U of C have also talked to me about my study abroad experience and how they love having study abroad students in their research groups, because that shows how adaptable you actually are to new circumstances. Yeah, that's kind of more or less in my program. I did receive a study travel grant, so I think it's called the International Travel Study Grant, as well as Alberta student loans that include international studies. Yeah,
Excellent, Sydney.
thank you.
What was your favorite part, other than being part of a top secret research project, of being abroad in the UK?
I think it was actually meeting all the people and living with different people from all over the world. So I'm very lucky to have made a lot of friends while I was studying abroad. And actually, one of my friends is getting married next year, and she asked me to be a bridesmaid at her wedding. So it's kind of like friends for life.
Excellent. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry. There we go.
So there's no doubt that you've probably heard quite a bit about global learning or study abroad before today, but in order to make sure that you actually have the right information, we're going to dispel a few myths for you. So myth number one, I can't afford to participate. We call that a myth because the actual truth is that we have a variety of programs at different price points. So depending on if you have a budget that's similar to what you would be spending here at UCalgary, or if you're trying to save as much money as possible, you can definitely afford to go abroad somewhere. The more flexible you are with the location, the more likely we can get you something in your price point. We also have programs that are for different lengths of time as well, and that can also factor in how expensive it can be for you. When you're participating in either our exchanges or group study programs, or really any of our study abroad programs, you're paying University of Calgary tuition. So your tuition isn't going up. You don't have to pay tuition of an international student, which usually can be a lot higher if you're not going through our agreements. There are plenty of scholarships, bursaries, grants, and loan programs that you can apply for global learning. Our office offers a few. We're constantly looking for more opportunities for students. We even have one of our group study programs this year that's going to have a bunch of fully funded spots for students because it is related to global Indigenous learning, and we are so excited. There's some qualifications for that, but that's just one really big example of a huge milestone we were able to reach and lots of funding that's out there. You're also welcome to apply for funding that's external to the university as well. Lots of students have done it. Lots of groups from our university that travel together have done it as a group. They've been able to participate in some really cool activities like flying around volcanoes in a helicopter, because why wouldn't you want to do that while you're in Hawaii? So there's lots of ways that we can help you make it affordable. Just come talk to us advisors, and we're more than happy to help you out, figure things out with that respect. Myth number two, it's going to add time to my degree. We call that a myth because the actual truth is that all of our programs can help you earn University of Calgary credits towards your degree. You're not studying abroad to take a course just for the fun of it. You can have course equivalencies approved by your home department so that you know exactly how they're going to count back to your degree, whether it is as a requirement for your degree, or you can take options that will also help you progress towards graduation. But as long as you're keeping yourself a little bit organized before you leave, all of those courses can be counted. So you don't have to spend any more time adding to your degree unless you really want to. You can also choose short-term and long-term programs depending on your degree. So if you think that you can only have 2 courses as options counted towards it, our group study programs that happen in the spring or summer are great opportunities for you. But there are also some exchanges that you can get some options counted and also some of your requirements counted. But again, talk to your advisors in your departments and your faculties, as well as working with us in study abroad as your global learning advisors, just to make sure everything is organized. But yeah, does not have to add extra time unless you really want to stick around for longer. And then myth number 3, it's just for arts majors. It is absolutely not. Programs are for students in all faculties. Again, talk to your academic advisor, but we really try and make sure that we have a variety of programs for students studying anything at the University of Calgary. So like Sydney said, she got to do top secret research projects. There's lots of internships that we can help you find. But we have plenty of offerings in arts, but there's definitely things outside of there. If you're someone in biology, for example, and you really want to go study monkeys and bees, you're more than welcome to do that. We have a program for you. If you're in political science, I know that's kind of arts, but if you're in something that is related to it, or you're in a STEM field and you are minoring in it, you can go into that as well. Yeah, really no limits just because of the area of your study. And we have Max on with us. He's going to talk a little bit about his experience.
Hi, I'm Max. I went for a full year of studying, so I was a real keener. During the summer of 2019, I did a research stay through Sorbonne Université in Paris in France, as opposed to Paris, Texas. But while I was there, I was able to study a field of biology that isn't really offered at the U of C, which is the genomics of congenital disorders. I know that means a lot to some of you, but it was really fun, is the point. And while I was there, it was a whole new environment. I got to meet a whole bunch of new people, not just my lab crew, but also students in classes, because in addition to the research stay that I did just during the summer, I elected to stay on in the city for the full year of courses. Then that includes into the pandemic. That presented its own unexpected challenges. I was actually able to stay in Paris until my visa expired. But that allowed me to just keep in contact more with all the friends that I had made in my time zone, not just in France, but all across Europe and the UK, and talk with them, study with them, and we're still in touch to this day. So we've come a long way. One of the things that I really enjoyed the most about my experience studying abroad was the huge variety of courses that I was able to take. I am taking a major in biosci here and a minor in geology, and being able to go abroad and get credit in those fields in topics that aren't offered at the U of C is really incredible. For example, in geology, I took a climatology course where I got to do projects using computers to model climates from Earth's past, and there's really nothing like that going on at the U of C. So going abroad and looking into the courses that you want to take at certain universities and the programs that they offer is really important, because you can end up taking some really wacky stuff abroad. My experience was awesome. The experience of living independently in a big city or just in a new environment and a new culture was amazing. And I think I've really grown as a person for it as well, but also my career has benefited a lot from it as well. The opportunities that I got while working in a lab, I want to totally echo what Sydney said here. The opportunities that I got from working in a lab and by taking all of these different courses abroad have really helped me get into some senior courses and other lab opportunities that I'm currently doing. Like, I'm currently doing independent research in medical science. And part of the reason why I'm here is because of the skills that I learned while studying abroad. So it was a wonderful experience and I absolutely recommend it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Max. Do you think you would have had the same experience if you'd gone to Paris, Texas?
No.
Just checking. Excellent.
But like, there's such a huge variety of schools that you guys partner with. Like, I think it's over 200 from all around the world. So we really are spoiled for choice. So if I wanted to go to Paris, Texas, I probably could have.
Probably. We do have programs in Texas for sure. Thanks, Max. All right. Vivian, do you want me to take this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. So especially with COVID, one of the biggest myths that we hear is that participating in a global learning opportunity is not safe. And while, of course, there are risks associated with COVID around the world that we do not want any of our students tangled with, we just want you to know that even with COVID and in normal years, your priority is, or your safety is our top priority. We work with a layered safety net. So through risk management at the University of Calgary, the Government of Canada, the Government of Alberta, and a private organization called International SOS to make sure that our students stay safe when they're in field. And if an emergency like a global pandemic comes up, we are able to evacuate all of our students who wanted to come home, but making sure that those that stay in field, like Max, are kept safe and that we're in regular contact with them. One of the other things that we find that students really learn about themselves through global learning is that because your perspective changes so much, and Max really hit on this, is that you gain a network of people that make you feel safe and secure and supported when you participate in these programs, whether it's through your host school or the friends that you make along the way. And it can really make the world seem much less big, much less scary, and make you to feel safer and be safer as well. So if you're interested in traveling, maybe once you're done high school or done your degree, we would really urge you to consider participating in one of these programs, because it really is one of the safest and most supportive ways for you to travel internationally. My PowerPoint doesn't want to change slides. Oh. Or did it change too fast? Okay. All right, so we're moving on. So what are some of the opportunities that we have available? We have 5 different kinds of programs, which we will touch on in the next set of slides. All right, so exchange is probably what you would sort of first and foremost think of when you are participating in one of these programs. And with these programs, you would study at one of our partner institutions. So we have over 200 agreements around the world with really top rate institutions like the Sorbonne or University of East Anglia, just lots of really great opportunities around the world. You can earn transfer credit towards your degree. So there is one thing to be mindful of if you are a transfer student into the University of Calgary, is will this fit within the number of classes that you're allowed to transfer into your degree. But you make your own arrangements. You can live on campus, off campus, book your own flights, all of that sort of stuff. And we pretty much have programs that go anywhere from 2 weeks to a full year in duration with these exchange programs. We have a former student who did almost half his degree in Korea because he just loved it so much. So there's a lot that is available through these exchange placements. And so before we move on to the other types of programs, we're going to have Taylor talk about her experience as an exchange student.
Hello, thank you. So yeah, I'm Taylor. I'll tell you a little bit about myself first. I am in my 5th year of a combined program in biology and psychology. I'm currently finishing up my 5th year, and this will be my last year, and then I'm looking to go into medicine. And so they were talking a little bit about, it's only being for art students, but I very much am a science student through and through. And I managed to fit this into my very complicated degree program. So it's definitely doable. So I went to Leiden University in the Netherlands in the winter semester of 2020. So yes, that was COVID. I was only abroad for about 2.5 months, but I wouldn't have changed my experience for the world. Despite, the circumstances, I have met some incredible people, and those 2.5 months were, absolutely incredible. I got to travel a lot to a lot of different countries during my time. And it was also really interesting. I chose the Netherlands primarily because of location, because I wanted to be on mainland Europe and be able to travel a lot, which I did. But I also wanted to live near the coast because I've always lived in kind of central Canada, very landlocked. And so that was, a very different kind of climate and a city. And Leiden is absolutely beautiful. So I really loved it there. I think the biggest thing I gained from being abroad was kind of the confidence and independence, being alone in a new country, knowing nobody when I first got there, and leaving with like so many friends, many of which I'm still in touch with. So yeah, absolutely recommend that. And then finally, in terms of funding, I received an international travel study grant from the study abroad office at the University of Calgary, which helped fund my trip. And also, for those that are interested, if you already get like loans and grants from the provincial and federal government, they offer like larger grants and loans if you are doing an exchange or some kind of global learning experience during that year. So I did get quite a bit of extra funding from the government that year. So yeah, ultimately with, you know, all the craziness of COVID, it was still absolutely worth it. And I completely recommend it to anyone who is considering it. It's a lot of work, but it's 100% worth the effort. And yeah, thank you for listening.
Thanks, Taylor. Okay. Sorry, PowerPoint doesn't like when you click between more than one thing. All right.
So our next type of program that you could apply for are group study programs. They're faculty-led short-term trips where a University of Calgary instructor takes a group of students abroad to a specific location to study particular courses that are enhanced by the location that they're studying in for a very experiential hands-on experience. I always kind of like to compare it to like a very adult version of a magic school bus situation, because you're going to the learning. So you can get some very practical experience and see some really cool stuff. So in these programs, students get to travel with their classmates and build a unique relationship with their instructor, and instructors are leading groups on programs that are they're often very well connected to the areas. Either that's where they do their own research, or they have colleagues that do research there that overlaps with theirs in some way. So there is going to be a large sense of familiarity as you're going to each of the locations. So you won't be able to access resources you're able to access resources that you wouldn't be able to if traveling on your own. So if you're on exchange, for example, you don't necessarily have your professor with you. When you're on exchange, and as someone asked in the chat, like things like dietary considerations, that's something that's sometimes more of an independent thing that you have to arrange with your host institution if you're staying in residences, versus on a group study program, we help you arrange the travel, your professors with you in field, we arrange all of the places that you're staying. So there's a little bit of a relief in terms of responsibilities there. You do have to keep on track with the timelines as we tell you it's time to give us information to arrange each part for you. But otherwise, it's a really cool experience. We have lots of options that we offer. So from things like language immersion programs in Japan to studying marine geology in the Bahamas, group study programs are a really great option for students, especially if you're looking for something short term in the spring or summer. We also sometimes have them over winter break as well.
And I will say, with questions about dietary restrictions, I do know that this program had someone who was celiac go with them to a secluded island in the Bahamas, and they were able to accommodate the dietary restrictions that the student had. So just a little fun tidbit there. Okay.
Awesome. So next up, we have our research programs. These international research placements are a growing portfolio from our office. So undergraduate research can sometimes be difficult to access in some fields at UCalgary, so students can take advantage of these opportunities abroad through our partner institutions. So international research offers an incredible chance to collaborate with our global partners while adding valuable skills to your resume and gaining an advantage for future research or postgraduate applications. So like some of our students have said, they're looking at postgraduate opportunities, even medical school, and some of these doors open a little bit more easily when you do have this research experience. And why not get an abroad experience during your undergraduate degree at the same time as you're buffing up your portfolio? It's a great option.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
We went 2 slides.
On to internships. So we administer a number of international internship programs for students to gain global work experience if research isn't your thing. Many of these programs offer incredible networking opportunities, career counseling, and other services that are designed to nurture the next generation of leaders, i.e. you. International internships are also a great way to that lead to job offers for students, whether at their original internship placement or by employers at home. So there are even some programs like at the Washington Center, you're actually leaving with a portfolio, and they have special workshops and parts of their courses that are designed as professional development. Just as an example, that these are opportunities that are basically an easy gateway into the professional world if that's directly where you'd like to head after your undergraduate degree.
Great. Is this me? Okay, I think this is me. So we have lots of virtual and community-based programs available on campus. It is one of the positive sort of evolution points that has come out of this pandemic, is that we really had to get creative and find solutions for students who couldn't travel. And so we have come up with sort of 3 main programs that you can participate in on campus or within your community that will help you to gain global learning experience without leaving the comfort of your living room. And so we have a program called the Global Community Challenge. Vivian, do you want to talk to that a little bit, just because you are the master of Global Community Challenge?
Sure. It is the fall semester, so I live and breathe this challenge. We partner with community partners in the city of Calgary that have some sort of a global scope to what they do. So be it either that they're partnered with other people on the ground elsewhere in the world, having an impact that way, or we have a few partners that work with immigrants here in the city of Calgary. So just having an impact on the global community, that's our criteria. We partner with them, we get them to propose a challenge to us, we post it, and we have a bunch of students from the University of Calgary, and also all of our international partner students are also eligible to apply. We gather all of those students together, we mix them up into interdisciplinary teams based on their applications and what they said that their interests are, and then those students get to work on those challenges. You get a mentor, you get a community partner contact, so you can learn more about that partner, what they do, what their expectations are. And then we format in a little bit of a challenge so that you have the sense of competition, but really the whole point is that you get to work practically on this virtual challenge with people from all over the world on real issues that our organizations are facing. And actually some of the projects that students have worked on, if I'm going to say most of them, have actually already started to work their way to being implemented by our community partners. And one of them, it's being shared by the Calgary Library that we are extremely proud of. They're one of the winners from last year. So yeah, if you want to work on something really cool, a great resume builder, and also meet people from everywhere you can imagine, it's a great option for you. Sorry.
No, it's great. That's perfect. That's way better than I could have explained it. The other 2 programs that we have are both more virtual, but working their way slowly into our office as we return to campus. The first is called UCalgary Global Online, which is an extension of our exchange programs. I actually don't think it's going away anytime soon, even if the pandemic were to magically disappear. It's been really great for our students. But basically what it is that students are able to take classes through our exchange partners, as well as stay in Calgary and taking classes here on campus. So we may have students who are doing 2 UCalgary courses and 2 courses at one of our partners abroad. And so you're getting a really good mix of classes that you could always take here on campus and courses that may not be available to you while you're here. Last but not least, and unfortunately Max had to go, but he is part of this program, is the UCalgary Global Ambassadors. And this started during the pandemic. It was a fully online volunteer program where our students, our volunteers, were supporting incoming exchange students or students participating in UCalgary Global Online with their learning and with their cultural development through our student learning portal, as well as setting up things like chat groups or language learning groups. And that group has grown, and they work in office, and they also do things like virtual advising for peers. They do a lot of work on social media, and we really, really enjoy having them. They do training programs and resume boosters and all sorts of stuff to help them as they move into their careers as well. Right. PowerPoint really hates me today. Okay. All right. So you may be asking yourself, a series of questions like, am I ready for this? Will I be ready while I'm a student? And so these are just some of the questions that we really encourage you to look at or ask yourself as you are looking at participating in these programs. And, maybe you answer yes to some of them now, but by your second year, you can answer yes to all of them. Or you participate in one of the local programs or virtual programs and feel more prepared to go abroad in further years in university. But we do just encourage you to think about this seriously. We want you to participate in our programs, and we want you to have a good time and make sure that you're ready before you go. So if you're looking for more information, we do have our website, which is ucalgary.ca/studyabroad, or you can email us at study.abroad@ucalgary.ca. I would also recommend that if you want to see some major travel inspo, keep up to date on things like deadlines and new programs and new opportunities, that you follow us on social media, especially Instagram and Facebook. At UCalgary Abroad. And then Vivi and I are really working on a TikTok. We're hoping it will happen. So keep an eye out. You may see TikToks coming from us soon, but Vivi and I are very old compared to most people on TikTok. So we may need to get our volunteers to help us out with that one. So now would be the time, if you have any questions, to ask them. I see that some of you have already asked questions in the chat as well, which is awesome.
We have one question. It says on the site that I need to have completed 10 courses. Is this by the time I apply or by the time the study abroad opportunity would start? That's a great question. So it depends on the opportunity. For most exchange programs, I'm saying most just in case there's like a one exception. Let's just assume that all of them, they want you to have 10 courses. And that's just because you apply to us first, then we have to nominate you to our partner institution, and then you have to apply to them. So it's not just us saying that you're okay, it's that they get an initial first sort of approval from our office, and then you have to apply directly to them. So to give them a sense of who you are as a student, you need to have completed 10 courses and have 10 grades to show that you are academically successful, as in you're not failing. You don't have to have a 4.0 GPA by all means, but you just have to show that, hey, I can pass courses here. I can pass courses for you. There's some GPA requirements, but it depends on the institution, and that's always posted on the website. But oh, thank you so much for coming. Someone just said they had to go. Come talk to us. Send us an email if you have more questions. You're always welcome to.
I was just going to say too, that 10 courses is for exchanges only, for group or exchanges, research, and internship. For group programs, you can have fewer than 10 courses and go abroad. You could be like in your second semester if you wanted. We have a question from Abby. How do you find out about group travel abroad sessions? Good question. So on our main webpage, which is ucalgary.ca/studyabroad, there are two ways you can look at this, but if you scroll kind of closer to the bottom, there is a current events, what would you call it? It's like a ribbon, and all of the events that are coming up within the next week are displayed within that ribbon. But there's also an events icon that you can click on, and it will show you a complete listing of everything that we have going on. Right now we have it pretty much updated until mid-November, so you can see everything. Oh, thank you, Vivian, for putting that in the chat. Vivian gave you a link to the program finder, and then there's also can you link the events page? Is that possible? Yeah. So we have an events page, and you can see everything that we have going on this fall semester. And the fall is really when we promote our new opportunities, because most of them take place in the spring and then in the following year. So for a study abroad opportunity, I will say you're usually going to be looking into your options about a year in advance, just so that you know, be prepared. And then of course, our Instagram and our Facebook, we usually post our study abroad sessions that you can join us in the stories. So make sure to watch your stories, and then announcements like deadlines, funding, stuff like that, we post in our feed. And then we do a weekly roundup of announcements on Facebook every Monday morning, sometimes early Monday afternoon if we've had a really busy morning. So there's lots and lots of ways. We're basically like screaming from the rooftops. There's also posters all over campus. When you are on campus, we are the corkboard spammers. We have a million posters up. Hopefully you can't miss them.
I'll also say that if you maybe had a sibling that went to Calgary a few years ago and they went on a particular group study program and you're not seeing anything for it, but you're just in your first year, don't worry, it might come back. We always accept new applications from instructors every year, and sometimes professors just want a year off. So like if you want Chinese language and culture, we've had that for eons. It's just not running this year, but it will next year in a few years. We'll just see when the professor wants to drag another group of students there. But if you have an interest that's not offered yet, still check back every year. In September, we launch all of our new programs for group study options. And then I think it's November 1st, we always open up all of our new exchange research internship options. So just always check back with us to see what the options are. And if not, just come talk to us advisors, because we can usually tell you what's coming before it's posted. So I don't know if I'm allowed to say that, but we can.
Yeah, I think you can. We can give you a sneak peek. All right, if nobody else has any questions, we can let you all go, be free, maybe get a snack before you go to your next discovery session. And thank you so much for joining us today. And thank you to our volunteers. You did a great job. I know Taylor and Max had to dip out, and Sydney's here if you want to ask her about her student experience.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you both for having me. That was
Thanks for
fantastic.
coming. You did a great
Even though I
job.
talk kind of fast.
So do we.
Yeah, don't worry. You're in good company.
Yes.
We'll
Thanks for joining
your
us.
Saturday.
You too. Thanks for giving up an hour. Did you do 2 hours or one? Just one, right?
Just one.
Well, thank you for giving up an hour of your Saturday to help us out.
Oh, no worries. It's always fun to talk to